That's Wizard and Angel Fingers. And there was a reason for playing that, because there is a connection between Wizard and Miles Hunt, but we're still having some technical issues. So we'll sort them out. Oh, he's there, is he there? Is Miles there? Brilliant, how are you?
I'm very good, Janice.
Hello, Miles.
To hear your voice.
How are you?
I'm marvellous. I am enjoying a beautiful sunny day in South Shropshire.
Yeah.
And
lovely.
Chilling out.
And what a beautiful place to be. Shropshire's gorgeous, isn't it?
You know, I came here 25 years ago in April.
Yeah.
And I was still living in London at the time, and the idea was that I was just going to have I had a lot more money back then, it's worth mentioning. I was just going to have a little bolt hole, you know, a little second home. And it took me about 6 months of owning it. And I would be down in London thinking, why am I not in Shropshire? And it's been my home ever since. 25 years, Janice, I've lived in the same house. It's incredible.
Glorious. Well, my brother Keith, he moved to Shropshire. He was living in County before he died, yeah.
Okay.
So he could be near me and my dad, you know. And so his son's there now, sort of tending the land and what have you. But it's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. Yeah, glorious.
Yeah, I mean,
how's life?
Really good, really good. I know a lot of other people that have had it a lot worse than me. I've been very, very fortunate. For once, I got my timing right, and I toured at the end of last year with the Wonder Stuff. So I got a couple of quid stashed away to make it through this period. I only had one show booked during the lockdown period, which should have been out in Amsterdam for the Shine On mini cruise. But we had to let that go. In the background, you can now hear, of course, my dog, Winky.
Oh. Hello,
Winky! He's out in the yard having a good shout. I've been very lucky because one of my oldest and dearest friends, Luke Johnson, who is the son of my first manager, Les Johnson. He's a multi-instrumentalist, but mostly a drummer. He was on tour with his band called Low Lives out in Europe when lockdown came, so he lost a lot of time out on the road and, of course, income. Found himself back where he lives out in Arizona, and then him and I just started talking, you know, well, let's try and use this time while we're all at home to get creative. And so I've been co-writing with Luke, and he's also been helping me on other material that I'm co-writing with Morgan Nichols, who was in my mid-90s band Vent 414 with me.
Yeah.
So I've got sort of two streams of music that I'm working on, and I make all that available on Bandcamp. Can I give it a plug?
Of course you can.
Okay, well, my Bandcamp address, moniker, whatever you call it, is Miles Hunt's Lockdown Demo Society. I think there are currently 9 tracks up there, and we are in the process of working on 2 more during the next couple of weeks. That'll go up in 2 weeks' time. Yeah. So as I say, I've been very fortunate, and I'm not running out of things to do.
It's funny, actually, because I just looked at Hunt's Lockdown Demo Society.bandcamp.com/subscribe earlier this afternoon. Yeah, so that's keeping you going.
Did you see there's the welcome video where I've got Winky on my lap?
Oh, yes. Lovely name for a dog, Winky.
Well, Erica Knuckles named him. And the story goes that, have you seen the Christopher Guest movie Best in Show?
No. Yes. No, I have. Yeah,
it's the people that made, you know, Spinal Tap and
that's right. Yeah,
and they've done various sort of spoof movies of American environments, traditional American environments. I think they've done Mascots for Sport. They've done Best in Show. They did one about the Oscars, and the winning dog. There's a spoiler alert coming if you haven't seen Best in Show. The winning dog of the dog show in Best in Show is a very similar breed to Winky, and the name of the dog in the movie is Winky, so that's why Erica named him Winky. It's I wanted to call him Hank because I could see myself, in parks shouting, "Hank, come here!" And instead it's Winky. you know, so it's been slightly embarrassing, but it's only a name, and I've lived with a daft name all my life, so who cares?
Well, we've got a Sparky, who barked actually
Sparky's a
for the
great
first
name.
time. Well, when we got him from the rescue home, he was Spark, and we just didn't think it sounded right, so he's Sparky now.
Yeah.
And he's a...
Well, dog trainers will say that you should have a 2-syllable name. We went through all of this, and with the second syllable, something that you can do in a higher pitch. So you would go Sparky, and apparently this is how we get dogs' attention. It's yet to work for me. He's a mind of his own.
I bet Winky's been a saviour during lockdown.
He really, really has. I rise early anyway. I'm always awake by like 6 a.m. You know, it's my
so am
age.
I at the moment. I'll ring you.
Well, it's an age thing, I think. As we get older, for some reason, I just, you know, I can't lounge about in bed. I do have to take an afternoon nap, though. I will mention that. Yeah, so it used to be when I first got the Winkster, he used to wake me up around about 5:30, sort of whimpering, you know, at the foot of my bed. But now we're kind of in sync. So we're awake around about 7. I make a pint of coffee, sit and address any emails or social media stuff that I need to do. And then we're out the door, usually by 8:30. And then I get on with whatever I'm meant to be doing, have a little afternoon nap, then we go out again about 4 or 5, and then we go out again about 10 or 11. And so he's given me a routine, which I would imagine, you know, I live on my own, or, you know, there's only Winky and I living here. Yeah. So I would imagine if anyone that's living through this where you're absolutely on your own, I would imagine that it's very difficult to self-impose a routine, but he's done that for me. And of course I do about 3 or 4 mile a day walking with him. He's only a little fella, but he likes to go. And so yeah, he's been amazing. And I've got someone to talk to that doesn't answer me back even better.
Well, it's great that you've done this lockdown session for us. And
I was thrilled to be asked.
Back. Oh, well, I had to. You know, we go back, for people who don't know, Miles and I go way back, don't we?
We really do. Late 80s we met, didn't we?
Yeah. All those years ago, good God, where's it gone?
And I find it really heartening as well, you know, because years will go by where you and I don't either talk or we don't see each other. Yeah. But when I'm out doing my thing, you know, doing my job, such as it is, your name comes up like constantly. It's the community of musicians that I've got to know since I've been lucky enough to do this. You know them all. Yeah. You know all of my music friends, and it's great. Yes. You know, you and I were talking the other day. You know, the lovely Billy Duffy from the Cult got in touch with me a couple of weeks ago for the first time in God knows how many years. And I mentioned that to you when we were speaking on the phone, and you said, "Oh, please put me in touch with Bill." And then when I was doing my FaceTime with Billy, he was thrilled to hear your name. Oh yeah. Send me the details. So where your name's often in my world, in my heart, and it's that lovely community of British musicians that we're a big old family now, aren't we?
We are, and we had a great time, didn't we? Fantastic, and it's still going on.
Yeah, that recent tour, it's probably not that recent now, is it? Where you were DJing on
2 years ago, isn't it? Yeah.
It 2 years? And have I remembered this correctly, that was the first time that you travelled on a sleeper bus?
Yes. Oh, God, Miles, if you'd have seen me, if there had been a camera of me trying to get into that bunk on the bottom, I tried everything. And, of course, once I got in, I was dying for a wee. And I was like, oh, my God, how do I get out?
Oh, how did you manage
to get out? And then I realised...
Go on.
I don't know. I just have. But I had to roll in. But I had such a great time.
A lot of rolling goes around on those two. You know, it's the best sleep. That's the only time that I can get a really good lie-in. It's like sleeping. Did you manage to sleep?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
something about just, you know, rolling down the road and being a man,
Yeah.
you know, you got about 15 of your friends are in close quarters. I find it really comforting.
Well, it's a bit like, you know, if you get a sleeper train. I used to go up to Ullapool quite a lot for the festival called Loopaloo.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
that
I know.
sleep on that sleeper train was brilliant.
I've never done that. I do, probably not now after all this business has been going on. But my cousin Al, who's New York born and bred, and he lives in Pennsylvania now. His kids are out on the West Coast, and he did it for the first time last year. He did himself. You know, he's retired now. He did a full trip across the United States on sleeper trains, and just said it was the greatest thing he'd ever done. And I thought it's, you know, I had all these social media posts that I was seeing. I'm like, I gotta do that. I mean, I've toured America probably 15 times, and at least 5 of those times I've been the person at the wheel. You know, I've driven it, and you end up doing 7,000 mile on those tours. And I thought I would really like to treat myself one day and do that sleeper train thing across the US. But given our current situation, I'm not sure that's going to happen very soon.
No, it's sad, isn't it? Really, really sad. I'll tell you a great tour bus story in just a moment about falling asleep on a tour bus.
Okay.
This is You with Circle Square, which I absolutely love. Miles Hunt, thank you. Back with you in a moment.
Is that a smile that hangs beneath your nose? Or are your lips just stuck to your teeth and they're too fixed to close? You don't have to hammer it up on me. Tell me how long you waited just to be with me. 'Cause I've been a long-term disappointment in myself, but it hits like a hammer when I'm not to someone else, and the circle doesn't fit its little square. It bulges with opportunity, bulges. Yeah, I said, is that a smile that hangs beneath your nose? Or are your eyes so wide they fold your mouth into that stupid pose? You don't have to hammer it up for me. Tell me how long you waited just to be with me. 'Cause I've been a long-term disappointment to myself, but it hits like a hammer when I'm not to someone else, and the circle doesn't fit its little square. It bulges with opportunity, bulges. Myself, but it hits like a hammer when I'm mad to someone else, and the circle doesn't fit its little square. It bulges with opportunity, bulges. I've been a long-term disappointment to myself, but it hits like a hammer when I'm not to someone else, and the circle doesn't fit its little square. It bulges with opportunity, bulges.
fantastic Miles Hunt Circle Square. Yeah, so I was going to tell you, we went to New York, Paul and I, for a break. This is in 1990, so such a long time ago. And the Blue Aeroplanes were playing at the Marquee in New York, so we went to see them. And they said, do you fancy, we'll go out for a drink, we'll do a credit card attack with the record company's money. Anyway, so we sat on this bus diner thing. We had, what do you call it, iced tea, Brooklyn,
Long Island iced tea.
That's it.
Yeah.
And anyway, we go off. They get on their tour bus. And we had a quick look around the tour bus. And then they set off. They were going miles, hundreds and hundreds of miles to do the next gig. And the driver had pulled into a gas station. One of the band got out of his bunk and went for a wee. And he just had his trousers on. And when he came out, the tour bus had gone.
Oh,
he hadn't checked to see if they were on board. And he ended up having to arrange travel. He phoned the police and said, I'm stuck. And he sorted it out. But he got his wallet in his back pocket. And he arrived at the hotel the same time as the band. They hadn't even noticed he was missing.
Well, I know you've taken an interest in what Richard March from Pop Will Eat Itself and Jamie Atkin from EMF have been doing with their... So, and I know you were looking for the audio on that, which I think... I spoke to Richard the other day and he wants to do some different mixes before they start making those available. But if ever you talk to Richard or any other member of Pop Will Eat Itself about a guy going missing from a tour bus in exactly the way you just described it, ask them that question, because that's just the start of the story. It gets...
Really?
I mean, this is like a 10, maybe even a 20-year story. Nobody ever found the guy again. And then, interesting. The last gig that I went to was seeing Jar Wobble in Birmingham in February. And this person in question was in the venue, the guy that went missing. And I think he's lived for like 30 years in the States, having just stepped off the bus. But Richard tells a very good version of it, yeah.
Oh, I'm going to hear that story.
He comes up to me and says, he says, hey, Miles, how you doing? And I'm like, I have no idea this guy is. He's 30 years older than that sort. Yeah, I'm sure, I'm sure the Blue Aeroplanes and Pop Will Eat Itself aren't the only people that's happened to.
Oh, there must be loads. There should be a book, shouldn't it? Tour bus stories. There'll be piles of them. But I loved it because I loved that little back area, at the back of the bus. And
the
we
lounge.
Had a drink and a joke, I just thought, this is brilliant. I like this. And I've never seen where you pulled in huge washing machines.
Oh, and some of the... That's right. I mean, in Europe, when you tour Europe, they've really got it sorted out there, even the smallest venues, even something the size of, I don't know, let's try and think of a venue that we would both enjoy, like a marquee-sized venue or a barfly. They not only do they in Europe, they'll cook for you, even if it's a 400 capacity venue and there's showers and washing machines and all this stuff. And England's a little bit behind on all that type of stuff.
I know, they're always smelly and disgusting backstage. The dressing rooms are hideous. I was saying this the other week. Windows are broken. There's a draft, and it's great when you can go somewhere and you're looked after. Yeah.
Sadly, the Wonder Stuff didn't really put that much time in on European sort of continental mainland. We focused our attentions on North America, and so it's a great regret now. Not that I didn't have an absolutely wonderful time all those times we were touring in the States, but it would have been so much easier in recent years just to jump on a ferry and go and do shows out in France and Germany and Belgium and Holland and we're just not particularly known there, and the expense of going to America, goodness me, these days, I mean, it's fiscally impossible, but COVID-19 or not, and the work permits and tax numbers and stuff that you have to get, it's a nightmare. So it's a shame, and I don't ever see us getting back to North America as a band, really. So it's just a bit depressing, really. Well, so it's a good job we're loved in the UK.
Yes, and you are, undoubtedly. Just fill us in on Uncle Bill.
My Uncle Bill?
Yeah.
Uncle Bill Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about him?
Is he the wizard man?
Well, yeah, he got a call. He went to the Conservatoire of Music in Birmingham.
In Birmingham, yeah.
Yeah. And he got a call. He was he's a keyboard player mostly, but he plays French horn as well. And he got a call from a very late lineup of The Move, who'd already had Blackberry Way as a hit by them, to see if he would join. So he's in a very light. I'm not sure he's on a Move record, but he was in a late lineup of the live band. Around about time, Roy Wood leaves, and Roy Wood leaves to form the Electric Light Orchestra, and Bill goes with him for that period. I believe Bill's on 2 Electric Light Orchestra albums, and I say the full name because that's what they were then. So I think it's when Roy leaves, it becomes ELO. And when Roy left that, he started Wizard, correct, and took my Uncle Bill with him, and so Ballpark Incident, See My Baby Jive, I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day, my Uncle Bill's on all of them,
So did I meet your Uncle Bill? Because, that became a hit again and again, didn't it? I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day.
Yeah.
And I remember doing Top of the Pops and loads of kids sitting around them. So he must have been there.
That would have been a re-release, and I don't think Bill...
Right.
You're not that old, Janice. I mean, that was 70. You weren't presenting Top of the Pops in 74.
Oh, I certainly wasn't. 83 I started.
No, so I doubt very much whether Bill was there then. But interestingly, Bill lived his life. He's still alive, thank goodness. He's always played music. He was with Raymond Froggatt for years.
Wow.
In that live band. He's also been a peripatetic music teacher around the Midlands, and he also something came up on social media the other day that I vaguely remember him doing this, but when Noddy Holder first left Slade, I think Dave Hill particularly felt a little bit at sea, so he did some co-writes with Uncle Bill, and it came up on my social media. There's a really good song. Yeah, it was.
Brilliant.
I think Nod did the vocal on it as well. Anyway.
Really?
Yeah, but it's in my family. Yeah, I was going to
say it must be there then.
Yeah, I mean, my nan, bless her, she's gone now, Bill's mom. She always maintained that the music all came from her. But she maintained a lot of outlandish claims, did Violet. But certainly, I when I'm out at night, quite late walking Winky, I talk to the dog constantly, and I often find myself, I'll say a sentence and then I'll just start singing it, whatever the sentence is. Maybe I'm trying to bully myself into doing a bit more work, and I don't know, maybe that's a lyric. But it was what my nan, Violet Hunt, used to do all the time. She had a song for everything. Whatever she was doing in the kitchen, suddenly she would burst into song. So maybe she was right. Maybe it does all come from Nan. But Bill's a brilliant musician, and his son William as well has had some success in the music business. Shamefully, I've forgotten the name of the act that he was signed to Sony. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of us Hunts out there making a record.
Right, we're going to play another tune that you've done for us. And this is Miles Hunt, In My Sights.
In a nutshell, I'm still waiting for the one. I thought I had her, but she's gone. I don't feel well. Is that obvious to see? I know there's plenty worse off than me. It's a hard sell, convincing all around I'm fine. I'm hoping I'll get there in time. While the space I'm in is tight, I always make it through the night. Father morning brings new light. I'm gonna keep that in my sights. In my sights. It's been too long. It's been way too long since I seen the friends that put me on the team. On the upside, this call's coming down the wire from people I truly admire. And while the space I'm in is tight, I always make it through the night. For the morning brings new light. I'm gonna keep that in my sights. In my sights. Now that I've faced all of my fears, the road ahead is clear. In a nutshell, I'm still waiting for the one. I thought I had her, but she's gone. While the space I'm in is tight, I always make it through the night. For the morning brings new light. I'm gonna keep that in my sights. In my sights.
Oh, hooray!
Yay. That is amazing. In my sight. Miles Hunt.
That's
what a great
very
track.
new one. Yeah, it's a very, very new one. I wrote that about 2 months ago with Luke Johnson that I mentioned that I'm doing the Bandcamp stuff.
Yeah.
So Luke gave me like a full track. It sounds like, you know, it's a full on sort of new wave. It's about 20 times faster than that, and he sends me these instrumentals and just says, you know, do you want to put your nasal whine on this and see if we can come up with anything? And then I was mucking around with the acoustic guitar and just thought, actually, I can work a sort of little country swing out to this. So there's a couple of different versions of that song on the Bandcamp thing we were talking about earlier, but it's interesting, like the last Wonder Stuff album that we did, Better Being Lucky, that came out at the tail end of last year.
Yeah.
I wrote 4 tracks on my own, and then I started working with a wonderful guitarist that I've known, goodness me, back to my teenage years, called Mark Gemini Thwaite. Yeah. And Mark plays with Peter Murphy. He's played with The Mission and Tricky, and you know, he's a very busy guy. Yeah. We're both from Birmingham. We're both born in the same hospital, I think about a year apart. And he's out in California, and he just got in touch with me in 2018 and said, you know, do you want to do a bit of co-writing? So we wrote the rest of Better Being Lucky, the last Wonder Stuff album, together. And it's interesting to learn that, you know, I'm 53 now, that I think my strengths lie as a co-writer. To the point now when I'm trying to sit and write a complete song on my own, I don't really enjoy myself. I'm like, I wish there was somebody here, or I wish I was in contact. In fact, the most recent one that I'm trying to get ready for the Bandcamp site that will go up in about 2 weeks, I got a track. It's a guitar riff I've had, goodness me, for over 10 years. And I've got locked in this, what is essentially an awful vocal melody over it, and I just can't get it out of my head. And the guitar riff deserves better. So I was sitting here about a week ago, and there's a great singer called Dennis Krupe who lives out in Los Angeles, plays in a band called Primitive Painters, and I just sort of,
I know.
do you know? Yeah, okay. Well, they're named after the Felt song, you know.
Yeah.
And and I saw Dennis's name come up on something on social media, and I'm like, right, I should send this instrumental track. I'll just give him a title, no suggestion of a vocal melody, send it to Dennis, and just see if he can unlock this song, you know. And so don't worry about writing the lyrics. But he sent back, and he did. He totally unlocked it and gave it a new vocal melody.
Wow.
It was wonderful. And this all happened within about 10 minutes, you know. And so from that perspective of, you know, being so far apart, but trying to stay together during the lockdown period, all of us all over the world, we're not going to see each other very soon, but we're all making that extra little bit of effort to stay connected. And so Dennis and I co-wrote this song last week that I'm really thrilled with and can't wait to share it, yeah.
Brilliant. Quick one, somebody we both remember with love, Kirsty McCall.
Of course. Oh, dear Kirsty. I was reminded of this, of Kirsty's passing recently. Because I remember I was walking down Tottenham Court Road, and this is early days of me having a mobile phone, and so I'd answer any call, you know, and I didn't recognise the number, but I answered it, and it was someone from a radio station, a producer from a radio station who wanted to put me live on air to talk about the death of Kirsty McCall, and I didn't even know it was that day. And I remember I sat outside. I just had to sit down on the step outside a shop up near Warren Street, and I just sobbed my heart out. I'm just like, is this true? Is this true?
I know.
My goodness, she was a lot of fun to be around, wasn't she, Janice?
Oh, she was fabulous. Absolutely. She had the wickedest sense of humour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She could whoosh with that tongue, but she was great. And I was in Marks and Spencer's in Birmingham. And I got the phone call from the Beeb saying, you need to know this before you hear it on the radio, because they knew we were bezies. Yeah. And I was just crying in Marks and Spencer. Yeah. I didn't know what to do. I was just lost.
Couldn't believe it. It still is unbelievable.
Oh, so sad. I know. But you had great times musically together.
Oh, yeah, well, she was in a studio, the same studio as us in Shepherd's Bush in London in
Townhouse.
That's right, yeah, 91. Many wonderful albums recorded there.
Yeah.
And I think she was only in there briefly for a couple of days. We were there for like 4 months, and I used to enjoy recording my vocals late at night and drunk, only to be made to do them all again by the producer Mick Glossop in the morning. He would indulge me. Yeah, Mick's produced some amazing albums, and so there was a very long corridor to go between the different studios and the toilets, and I was drinking some awful lead from Milch and chain smoking and trying to convince everyone in the room that my vocal was great. And it was about midnight, and I had to go off to the loo. And as I was walking back from the loo, there was definitely a mirror at the end of this very long, narrow corridor at Townhouse. But I was sloshed, you know, and I thought, well, is that me in the mirror, or is somebody walking towards me? And we met in the middle of the corridor, and this was my very first meeting with Kirsty McCall. And I'm looking at her, and I'm like, oh, my God, you're Kirsty McCall. And she said, too right I am, darling, who are you? And I introduced myself, and I said, come into the studio. And Mick Glossop, the producer, he already knew her. And so in waltzed me to, you know, Martin Gilks, our original drummer, also sadly passed away. And his eyes, I remember, like, where have you got Kirsty McCall from? And she said, play me what you're doing. And we were working on Welcome to the Cheap Seats. And she'd had a couple of drinks that night as well. And she said,
that's not like Kirsty.
And she said, I would love to sing on this song. Would you like that? And we were like, we'd kill for that. And off she went into the night, and I remember waking up in the morning thinking, you know, was that all a dream? And I'd get in the bus or the tube into the studio from Hackney that morning thinking, yeah, we'll never see Kirsty again. And I got into the studio, and I said to Mick Glossop, I said, did I bring Kirsty McCall into our studio last night? And he said, yeah. And she said she wants to sing on this track. And he said, yeah. I said, that's not going to happen. He said, it is. She's phoned this morning. And, you know, dropped off her phone. Yeah, and I think it took a week or two for her schedule to meet as. And goodness, she came in and did it, and I just sit, one of our daft little tracks, and I'm sitting in the mixing room, she's out there in the live room, and to hear that voice that I'd been a fan of for years going down on our song, I just couldn't believe it. And of course then we did, a video, we released that song as a single, and we did Top of the Pops and various other sort of promotional things together, and just what an absolute delight, because I wasn't a delight to be around when we were doing things like videos and Top of the Pops, and just her wonderful sense of humour and her lust for life just made everything wonderful. She was one of the most amazing people. Yeah.
Really was. And we used to have some great little trips like Thelma and Louise playing music really loud and singing along. Love the bones.
Yeah. When did you two meet?
When I joined Radio 1, a couple of pluggers decided that Kirsty and I would get on and took us out for lunch. And we went to a Chinese, and they did those Dutch pancakes, not Dutch pancakes, Chinese pancakes, with duck.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do with them. I'd never seen that before. And she went, "Here, I'll show you." And that was it. We were just buddies ever since.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'm going to have to tell you to go away because the news. Listen, I've got to play one more track. But before I do that, I want to thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to be around you. Give a love to your brother.
I will,
I hope everybody's fine, and love you and thank you. And do you want to say anything about Don't Anyone Dare Give a Damn?
I will. It's actually from the last Wonder Stuff album, and we had planned to get this out as a single, whatever singles are these days, much earlier than this, but it gets an official release on Friday this week with a beautiful animated video that's been done for us by a company called Grin Creative.
It's a great video. I've seen it.
Have you seen it? It really is beautiful. It was something that it was a narrative to the song that I wanted to film on the New York subway, because the track's got some, the actual recorded version of it's got some sound effects in it that I did as field recordings when I was last in New York. And so you hear a station announcer say which station it is and the train coming in. And so I had this little narrative that I wanted to film, and of course we've not been able to do that. So this company Grin came in and said, we can animate that for you, and it's really, really beautiful, and that will go up for everyone to see early Friday evening, or maybe sometime on Friday. So yeah, it's our latest single, Don't Anyone Dare Give a Damn. And I quickly just want to say, Janice, I love you too. Thank you so much for asking me to do this, and I can't wait to see you again.
I can't wait to see you. And I'm going to form a band called Grim If You Can.
Okay.
I just thought that was such a good name. I love you. Stay safe in Shropshire. Give our love to Winky. Hello, Winky. Go on, bark for us, Winky. Go on.
He's out in the yard.
Oh, well, you take care, and once again, thank you so much. Lots of love. Miles Hunt. Don't anyone dare give a damn. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Leave everyone to their own devices. Sooner or later there will be sacrifices. It's enough to make you cry. Trust anyone to panic in a crisis. It's hit or miss on who'll be decisive. It's enough to make you cry. Take my word, I'm not making this up. I'm not taking a cut. I'm not even the one to make the call. All my life I'm not trying to judge. I don't even begrudge a mistake when they come out of a smile. Give a damn or raise a hand. Don't anyone make like they understand. We're out here in the dark. damn or raise a hand. Don't anyone make like they understand. We're out here in the dark. All here in the dark. There is no joy applying for the license. And furthermore, did you see the prices? It's enough to make you cry. I do my best to try to look excited, but something's lost and something else requited. It's enough to make you cry. Take my word, I'm not making this up. I'm not taking a cut. I'm not even the one to make the call. All my life I'm not trying to judge. I don't even begrudge a mistake when they call however small. Give a damn or raise a hand. Don't anyone make like they understand. We're out here in the dark. Don't anyone dare give a damn or raise a hand. Don't anyone make like they understand. We're out here in the dark. All here in the dark.
Out on Friday, not that version obviously, that was done in lockdown, a fabulous lockdown session from Miles Hunt. Don't anyone dare give a damn. Before that it was In My Sights, and before that it was Circle Square. And Paul Cleves says, loving the chat with Miles, always entertaining. Circle Square sounding splendid. Lots and lots of love for Miles, and rightly so. And the only thing I miss is giving him a big hug. Anyway, Miles Hunt and Winky, thank you very much indeed for your time. As you listen tomorrow, we've got a lockdown session from Gizmo, who is also doing a lockdown mix for us in the final hour of the show. So still all very exciting. I mean, it's not a great time, lockdown, as we know. Horrible things are going on, but people are being really kind and incredibly creative and coming up with all sorts of amazing stuff for us to feature on the show. Right, it's time to take a look at the weather. So it's going to be a dry night with clear skies, giving plenty of evening sun.